I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna.
And it's time to start the regular board meeting of Toltec School District number 22. And we will start by, wait for a second. We are going to stand. The pledge of allegiance. Nancy, could you please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We move on to the treasure hunter pledge. And we can all look right up there and we can start this out. As an adult and a treasure hunter,
I am committed to search for all the talents, skills, and intelligence that exists in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success,
no exceptions. Moment of silence, please. All right, I'll be seated. Mr. Rogers, could you do the roll call, please?
Mark Lindgren,
Here.
Steve Cartwright.
Here.
Let it be noted that Mr. Cartwright is here telephonically. Anthony Levatino,
Present.
Ernie Lopez,
Here.
David Richter,
Here.
all present.
And we are now moving on to approval of the agenda, D. Do I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
All right, Dr. Levatino's made a motion. Do I have a second? And,
A second.
oh, okay, Ernie has a second. He's drinking his coffee.
Priority.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Move on to consent agenda items, approval of the action consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval of the action consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Lopez has made a motion. Do I have a second? Second. That's second by Mr. Richter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against? Motion passes again. We're moving on to information discussion items. We're going here. Superintendent's summary. Take it over now.
So we have 39 employees who earned fourth quarter perfect attendance. So we greatly appreciate that. There were 22 from ACES, 11 from TES, and 6 district. Those districts were actually those in the transportation department. And the principals, Principal Tapia and Principal Corzan, are in the process of hiring appropriately certified teachers for this upcoming school year from the Philippines. And Mrs. Tapia is working on hiring 9 teachers, and Mr. Corzan is working on hiring 1 teacher. Pinal County Department of Public Works is moving forward with the Arizona City Flood Control Project. So they're going to build a channel. Remember, we said you don't have to buy the properties, you don't have to worry about that. You just build that channel to
Give an easement,
water,
yeah, give an
yes.
easement for the
And
channel.
so I have attached their plans that they emailed to me. So we had agreed that that was, of course, for the best for Arizona City. And then, of course, we would happily let them use some of the property for that. The board members, Captain Lopez and David Richter, they attended the ASBA Summer Leadership Institute in Flagstaff last week, the week before, June 7th and 8th. So I will ask Captain, do you have anything you'd like to share?
No, well, it's interesting. I mean, I learned new stuff about budgeting and about more going on with, how to do, what do you call it? Bond issues. So learn more about, going toward bonds. So I think the most of that really learned a lot. I went to the, Hispanic Native Alliance meeting. And it was really interesting what's going on in that group. And I mean, it was a good discussion on that, which I learned a lot about what's going on, how the teachers are trying to help the students and how they're trying to reach the students to meet that achievement. So they were just going back and forth. At the same time, with another meeting with the Black Alliances, the same thing. And a lot of people say that the schools aren't training or teaching the kids, but then I was, well, we can, it's like a horse, you lead the kids, or the horse to water can make them drink it. Well, they're trying to teach them, but now they're trying to make more, easier programs, schooling for all the community, all the kids. So, one lady very concerned about, it's only not only Hispanics or blacks or, Chinese or whatever you want to call them. It's all one unit and all together, they work together as a group and treat all the students the same. No matter what color it is, how they're rich or poor, we got to help them, and that's what I learned a lot about. Go out and reach out to the kids and reach out to the teachers to help them get educated, help the kids out to do a better job in their school. So it was good. I liked it.
Great. Mr. Richards?
Kind of following up on that, there was a breakout session in the afternoon that talked about the RAY method. Basically, it was a way of teaching social emotional learning. I know that's a word in Arizona right now, a bad word where there's students and kids
It's
concerned.
not,
Well, I'll talk more about that one.
not for us.
Yeah, I know. They talked about respect, affirmation, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember what the I stood for, the RAY method, I cannot remember. That was really interesting. I agree with Derny, though. They talked about the bonds, the school finances, which was really interesting, as well as some of the bills that are going through the legislature right now that affect all school districts. I was particularly interested in the ones that affected the smaller districts like ours. And there were some that were very interesting to me that came out of that legislative update as well.
One thing that I forgot to mention that every county has their own little meetings. So with Brown County and with La Paz, I think.
And now La Paz and what was the third one? I can't remember.
We had a good discussion there, and they separated all the counties to different people, and I learned a lot from them. But
Well, one of the things we're talking about, at least at our table, I don't know about you,
yeah,
was attendance, chronic absenteeism, and
Yeah.
how districts are addressing that absenteeism rate.
yeah,
And I think that's a really important one that I think everybody needs to look at, especially as we get back from COVID. The absenteeism rate went through the
Yeah.
ceiling.
It's still a huge issue.
You're still reverberating, COVID hasn't gone away when it comes to stuff like
But
that.
it's not just for students either. Staff.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Thank you, gentlemen. That's all.
All right. Now we're gonna move on to information discussion items. B, finance report. So we're talking to Mr. David Wheeler.
Hey, yeah, no, last month, the board approved the increase in the budget, which pulled us out of a negative, situation. So all of the budget numbers, through May have been reflected and are in the budget that's attached. It's, we're looking at a pretty large, right now encumbrance, that will be drawn down this month and then next month, and then after that, we'll have a better idea of what if any monies will be moved over into 24, 25. So, but the good news is at least we're not in a negative situation right now.
And that's what we were looking for.
Yeah,
It's a good situation.
right.
Any questions? I know we were looking for that one thing, saying not negative. That was-
Right, yeah.
that was a Big thing on our list. And I know that you've been working tirelessly, trying to get this whole thing, figure it all out, because it's been I know it's not a simple, just moving into something, this is different than what
This is
you've done.
different, yes, yeah. This, it's been a steep learning curve.
Yeah. So, and I'm hoping you all the best, believe me, because we need the information, and if you can provide it for us, then I'm very happy to have Any questions? Any questions? Then we will move on to the information discussion items. The Arizona School Facilities Oversight Board application report. Increased on.
Okay, so I'm gonna move past the doors and the south gym. We're still in the same situation. ACES weatherization. I'm so excited about that. You should have pictures. Yeah, oh. You should have pictures of how far we are getting. I'm so excited. They already are working inside. They've done most of the outside job. They are working on the inside classrooms. They have taken down the sheetrock, the old one. They put the new insulation. They are now putting the new sheetrock and they're sealing it. And they've got that first 300 wing almost finished. And then they're going to start working on the 400 wing next week. They're trying to get the rooms on the inside finished for July 22nd, actually the week before, so that when our kids come in, at least we have the inside finished and taken care of. They'll start doing the bricks next week.
Oh, we will start.
That's what they're
That's
telling
they're
me.
saying.
That's what they're saying. I'm hoping.
Okay.
I'm there every single morning. I'm there every morning and there for about an hour, and I'm making sure that there's no corners being cut. And we've gone back and forth, but I think that they understand where we stand now. And they're really, really working with us. And I've had not really any problems. They're working with us, and I appreciate what they do.
I understand what you're saying. I've done that myself and I know exactly what you're going through. So I appreciate you putting that effort in, being over there, making sure that that gets done correctly.
No worries.
I get up every morning, I'm out the door by 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. As much as I can see with the light that I have, I look over there.
Yep.
So.
Now we have the chillers. That's the last thing I wanted to happen this summer, but it happened. We have a compressor that is out, approximately $25,000 to replace it. We're going to work through the SFB. I have another company coming down that is through Mojave. They will be here on Thursday to give us another quote. But it's going to be more than $25,000.
Yes, it is. Been through that one too.
Is that the same chillers we've been having since last year? I mean, the beginning of the year?
I'm sorry?
Are they the same ones that we've been trying to fix
Yeah.
since?
Well, they were fixed last year. We had new coils and Freon and good stuff like that. Everything was fine. And then this year, what we did was, because we're trying to save money, we have the temperature of the water. We wanted them to come and show us. And when they were doing that, they said, your compressor's out. And so I'm like, no. And they said, yes, your compressor is out. So they turned it off for us, and we're waiting for quotes to come in.
And like I said, the heat compressors.
It was working fine last year.
Every year, you're gonna find one unit, another unit, or something, the compressors are gonna go off.
Every summer, KG and I are, we just look at each other and go, another compressor.
Yes.
But we'll talk to SFB about both situations.
Well, okay, and obviously you get quotes on both.
Yes.
Correct, okay. As long as we're doing that, and we're heading in the right direction.
Try to do it through SFD. So the school facilities have been paid for it.
So we don't have to pay for
There's
the
not-
dime.
That's not a guarantee, that wasn't a warranty issue, was it?
That's what I.
No, it's not.
It's an old one,
Was it
and
all
that's, the warranty guarantee's gone.
10 years?
Actually, I think it's just 5 years.
It's the thing that we all deal with. I think they make those compressors to last like exactly.
5 years.
And the next day,
And the next day, go.
Just like our phone.
But like I said, they make these things over in China, and I think they planned it out. So, anyway, off we go to the next one, and that is information discussion item D, accountability ethics At a glance, Dr. Michelle Bond.
So the last couple of board meetings, I've been talking about testing and we're trying to get everybody tested. Well, now we're starting to get the results in. Some of it's promising and some of it's, we're gonna need to work on some things. So I basically condensed where we're at right now, and then the next board meeting, I'll have a little bit more data to share out. I'm starting to look at that right now. So that's the first bulleted item. State testing results have been made available to us by the state, and outcomes are currently being evaluated. A positive note, and this was a component of our targeted support improvement that we needed to show some progress with our English language learner students. And we were able to 3 of the students at ACES tested to proficient. And so now they'll be on a monitoring status for 2 years. And then this is 100% growth at TES, is that one of the students did test proficient in their English language learner assessment. So that's fantastic. Yeah, because last year or the year before there was 0.
That's one proficient out of how many?
Out of, they have 56, I believe. But at the same time, that progression, it takes time for them to get to that point. But the ACEs, we have a lot of students that moved up to intermediate. And so really I'll be working with that teacher, and we'll be discussing, okay, really focus in on trying to get those students proficient. So we also have it just came in through one of our grants, is some curriculum or instructional aids that focus specifically for the ELL learner, and the ones that are coming in with no English proficiency at all. So we're giving them some tools to work with. So I'm excited about that. The administrative team, we went to Flagstaff, and one of the assistant principals, well, the only one, assistant principal, Mrs. Rogers, myself, Vivian Sessom, the special ed director, and I think that was it. Yeah, we attended Arizona School Association summer conference, and so we got to do breakout sessions like you did at the ASPA conference, and some of it was targeted for school improvement and how to continue on with that. Some of the sessions dealt with AI, how that's integrating, and then a lot of social emotional. Here you said social emotional, but at the same time, the school environment and making sure that your staff members are being treated, that we're cognizant of how they're feeling and being aware of how to support them.
What we received, what we
Yeah. So that was a good one. And then one of the areas that we definitely are going to need to work on is our math scores. And so fortunately, it sounds weird, and what I'm saying is that we've kind of narrowed in what our targeted areas of improvement are, and it really needs to focus in on instruction. We've been trying to figure out this year, like, okay, is it the tools? Is it not quite what we're looking for? With this Math 2020 training, is that we're already in the process of getting teachers and we've started that since April. And so there's a group that's going, including myself, for the next 2 Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. And then there'll be a leadership training in July that'll be at TES because we're doing kind of a train the trainer part of it. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We have curriculum that has started to come in. And so hopefully we'll have what we need right when school starts instead of waiting. So.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Move on from there to call the public. None, no call the public. Move on. We can go to action items. And the action item, the first action item we have on here is the 2025 proposed budget.
Yes. As you mentioned, this is the proposed budget. It's been a challenge working through this from the standpoint of we don't have the same amount of funds as we've had in previous years. And that's mainly due to three things. One is we've had large carryovers, and that actually is detrimental to the next year's budget because you basically, whatever you move over, you've got to subtract that out of the entire budget going forward. So that's one item. The other is we did not have a one-time supplemental funding for almost $300,000. That was removed, so we didn't have that available to us. And then finally, the K-3 reading add-on funding was removed. So that's posing some challenges. Right now, again, like I said earlier, we're going to see where we end up with the any remaining budget for this year. But again, it's a double-edged sword. It'll help us in the short run, but we end up paying for it in the following year. So, and I'll have a better idea on that next month once we, have most of the invoices in, and we can really start looking at what we really have. On top of that, some of the reflection of the rates that are used for taxes have gone down from the previous year, so that's not as big of an effect, but it does impact our recovery. So again, it's manageable, but there's going to have to be some really hard looks at this.
Points.
What's that?
That 0.3 of a point
Yeah.
lowering is going
Yeah.
to account for a pretty good amount of money.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a numbers guy.
Yes. That's that's one area that won't be the final area, but if you look through the budget, you can see where just in order to get us to a budgeted point, you can see where I made the reductions.
Right.
And directionally, we don't want to cut any salaries, and we are not planning to do that at all. But just for this first blush at the budget, it was more like a 3% across the board. If you see that in your data.
I do.
And that's huge in our
Yes,
small school.
absolutely. So any further questions or in regards to the budget? And again, this is our first proposed with at this point, there will likely be,
By
there will be.
Next month there will be.
Yes.
I promise you.
Yes.
I can guarantee.
There'll be some updates.
But for now, the proposed budget is as it is.
Can I get some technical help here? I went through this whole agenda today, now I can't find the thing.
Okay. We'll take a pause. We just-
I do not absorb through my ears. Doesn't work. Okay, where are we? What's going on We go to agenda. Oh, voucher, yeah. sitting here, then it tells me that there was a connection. There we go. Okay. Everything's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And any questions? No, we got you up and running.
Appreciate it.
We're good to go then. Do I have a motion for the 2025 proposed budget?
So we'll
Okay, we have a motion by Captain Lopez. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Richter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against? Motion passes. We're moving on to action item B, 2024 school district bond.
We did, put a bond out for election in 2020 for $8 million. And now we're, proposing to take a bond for the general election for 2024 in the amount of $9 million. Of course, with 4 years passing, we have more needs. We need to update curriculum, technology. We would love to have regular preschool programs on each campus. We'd love to have an alternative program for students that just can't succeed in the regular educational setting. We would love to have some gas, the smaller white buses, gas buses that you don't need a CDL for, to help with student transport. We need an updated fuel system and we need facility updates. So the scope of the purposes is not conclusive, but it provides options for what might be necessary for the district over the next several years. So tonight, I'm asking you to consider that we approve being able to take a bond for the general election in November 2024 in the amount of $9 million capital expenses needs that we have here at Toltec School District.
Is that for both schools?
Yes, it'd be for the entire district. It'd be a total amount for the entire district. And of course, those funds would be, you know, they wouldn't be, we would use them as, we wouldn't spend them all. We're on hold for a lot of things like curriculum updates, some technology updates we just can't afford right now. So we're on hold for some things that are pressing and be able to meet those needs and then move forward at that point. The bond in 4 years ago was narrowly defeated, and I think the hugest factor in that is that none of the notices were put in the Arizona City mailboxes. So that's a huge handicap when you're trying to get something passed and they don't get the information about what that's all about.
Okay, you're not going to pass something you don't understand, or you're not given the information for. Are there any more questions? I already went over this, we went through this before, like I said, 4 years ago. And now we're going to try and attack this a little bit earlier, a little quicker, and have some people with some information to help us with that and help us try and get this through if we also pass it, if you guys agree with it.
Did we try that 4 years ago?
Yeah, we was tried 4 years ago, and we missed it by this much.
Very, but you know, none of the ballot information for that, for the bond was put in the boxes.
Boxes, mailboxes.
Mailboxes.
We're talking mailboxes.
Mailboxes and,
Can't read any docs.
post office and other places.
Right. So being a resident of Arizona City, it dawned on me a couple of days before the election, just what, I didn't get a pamphlet of information for, and
That's
So
the bond thing 3 times. Sorry, can't do it.
But that's, Arrow City and told that, the school.
Yeah, we got this, it's just the whole school.
Well, the whole district.
It's the whole district.
so everybody who lives in the boundaries of our district are mailed a notice of election that explains the bond, you know, what we're going for.
I'm surprised it went as far as it did, and we almost went without any information being disseminated to the public. So.
Because we can go out, deliver some of those ourselves, can we?
But we can go out and discuss, if you guys approve this, I plan on going to as many, community meetings as I can, both in Eloy and within our boundaries in Arizona City to, propel it forward and discuss why we're putting it out for the election. And then my hope is that we have, employees that will also, spread that, all of us, work together, spread the news on why we are proposing a bond.
It's being started. Maybe it's because I said I'm in the right mood here.
Good, that's something.
I can't bring up a document to say. It's all right.
All right, so,
So the point is, the board has to approve whether or not we want to put forward a resolution on the ballot.
Yes.
yes, absolutely. Any more questions? Because I think that might be the last one, because I think everybody understands that now. We're quite aware that it's the whole school district, and we've got to, if we do approve it, then we've got to make sure it gets spread out there so people do understand what we're looking for.
Steve, did you have any questions or comments? Steve?
No,
Okay.
All right, well, then I'm gonna ask.
We can ask
for a motion. Here we go. Hopefully it comes back up again. All right, I'm gonna ask for a motion on the 2024 school district bond. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, Dr. Valentino has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Lopez has made a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against? Motion passes. Moving on to 2024-2025 trust insurance coverage proposal.
A lot of these agenda items, which there's a whopping 19 of them tonight, are just protocols. So hopefully we won't have to discuss them in depth. Of course, you can ask any questions, but this is just our liability coverage insurance with the trust. Our next school year renewal.
And so I like the liability coverage, so that would be a good thing. So, if anybody has any questions other than they want to be covered by liability, ask away. Other than that, do I have a motion?
The school's insurance has gone up as much as my insurance has gone up.
Okay.
Everything.
On,
Everything's higher. A loaf of bread is higher. Everything's
Yep.
higher.
Was the same insurance company from last year?
Mhm.
oh yeah, it's,
Yeah,
We're just renewing the same policy.
yes. No changes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, KJ. You're worth your weight in gold.
There we go.
come on. All right. Do I have a motion for the 2024-2025 trust insurance coverage proposal?
So moved.
All right. I have a, Captain Lopez, has been a motion, do I have a second? Second. Mr. Richter has been a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against? Oh, sorry, that. All against? Motion passes. Moving on to action item D, 2024-2025 processing service program agreement.
So this is DP, data processing with Pinal County. Of course, this is a have-to thing, so we're just bringing it forward, matter of protocol. We process our paychecks and such and oversee things.
And again, it's just about everything on here is gonna be just a renewal of what we had before. And this is exactly the same thing we had last year. It will be, and this will just be a repeat of that. Are there any questions? If not, do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, I have a motion by Dr. Levitino. Do I have a second?
Second.
Captain Lopez has made the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Motion passes. We are moving on to the 2024-2025 combined resolution affecting county treasurer transactions.
Another procedural matter for this upcoming year. I just want to let you know that both banks are listed because we're in the process of changing from Chase to First Interstate Bank. This is a must. It's a have-to thing, work with the county.
What was that thing? Isn't it? Authorized now county treasurer invest and keep invested funds and interest-bearing securities. Blah, 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 blah.
Are there any other questions? Other than the fact that we're just in the middle of moving it from one bank to the other. If not, do I have a motion?
So we're still Andrea Jones still be on the list?
You mean somebody's?
Yeah. I'm just going over the.
Yeah.
Connection.
Andrea Jones is our payroll person. Yes, she's on here. Somebody's is not on here. Andrea Jones is our payroll person. Yeah, she's,
This is still working this?
yes, this is somebody's that this will no longer be with us.
She's not on there, so.
I thought she was on there.
No.
Okay. I got it.
All right.
You had a call for a motion, did you not?
Yeah, I said if we had any more questions, do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right. Dr. Levitino has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Captain Lopez has made a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Motion passes. Moving on to action item F, authorization of check signers.
So if you authorize the check signers for this upcoming school year, since we are in the middle of changing banks, and somebody's is listed on here, because if we change that right now, they already have the paperwork and it would slow us way down. We want to start the fiscal year out as in the new bank. Somebody's did take paperwork over there. You guys approved us changing banks July 10th, 2023. And we've been in the process of doing that, but we're in the late stage because we didn't want to change so July 1st, we should be closing out Chase and proceeding to First Interstate. So we can just go right here to Eloy and take care of big matters.
And the reason the nomination.
And they will also give us credit cards, and Chase kept treating us as if we were a for-profit business, and we don't have those types of, so we just eventually, after Dr. Asa tried for months, we had to bow out and say, okay, we're gonna have to find a different way.
And obviously Dominic's name is on there because she's the one who's been trying to do this for months, right? And that's why her name is on this stuff. It's over there. After that, it will revert over to the judge,
Exactly.
to the judge to her, right? So,
Yeah, the next meeting will add me to the new bank. So it's just, to Denise's point, we didn't want to upset the apple cart.
let's keep
Maurice has been doing all this work up to that point.
let's keep it moving forward is what I'm trying to say. So let's just,
Your checks require multiple signers.
Two signers.
Yeah.
And then we also have lots of paperwork before a check is issued.
Sure.
absolutely. Any other questions? If there are no more questions, do I have a motion?
Go ahead. Sure.
Okay, Captain Lopez has made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Dr. Levitine has made a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against? Motion passes. Moving on to the next. 2024-2025 Student Activities Treasurer.
Is no longer nominees. We go into David Wheeler.
I think that's kind of straightforward. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Levitine has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
The second is Mr. David Ricker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. We have the sole source vendors, 2024-2025 sole source vendors. Another one of those must-haves.
Yes, so so we do this every single year. So just a matter of protocol for auditing purposes.
Any questions? If we have no questions, do I have a motion?
I'm sorry, I do have a question. This sole source vendor means what? That these companies are the sole source for these particular services they specialize in?
Yes, so there's not always
Seems to be
options for
obvious.
us. Yeah.
Now here we got,
The obvious
None,
doesn't always fly. Okay.
like Southwest Gas or,
Okay, so moved.
all right, Mr. Dr. Levitine has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
No, second by Mr. David Richter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? The motion passes.
This machine is just flying, by the way. I love it.
Oh, yeah, we're doing what we can.
He gets done, he comes right up. Oh,
So what we have
We're
next
not
in
stuck
2020,
behind anymore.
yeah, 2024-2025 walk-through contracts.
Another protocol for auditing purposes.
It's all about auditing, and the auditors coming up. You don't have these things, you get caught in that stuff and find ourselves in the careers. So if anybody has any questions? If there are no questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Mr. David Ricker has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a second by Mr. Levitino and Dr. Levitino and Captain Lopez. All, that was almost everybody, so all in favor, say aye. All against? Motion passes. We're moving on. We're flying through this. It would be J.
This is our Upslope Solutions. It's a rubric that comes from Dr. Braswell's company that we use for consistency, fairness, and policy, also to mitigate any kind of liability risk when we're dealing with employee discipline matters. And so this is this is subscription to that rubric and also consultation and support by Dr. Braswell.
We've been there before.
Yes.
Yes. Again, I see if there are no questions. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right. Dr. Levitino has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. David Ricker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Motion passes. Moving on to K, 2024 through 27.
This is the agreement with CAC that we entered into last year that I had initiated. This is so that we also have connection to receive student teachers, but it also helps us obtain the teachers from the Philippines with this partnership. Last year, it was a 1 year. Now they're offering us a 3-year agreement.
Which is better than a 1 year.
Yes, you won't be on the agenda next summer.
So we can cut one right out. Very nice.
Is there a cost associated?
No.
Okay.
No cost.
Got it.
Just a mutual positive agreement or partnership.
Any other questions? If there are no more questions, do I have a motion?
You do?
I have a motion by Dr. Leventino. Do I have a second?
Just try to keep it moving.
Yes.
Second,
Okay, I have a second by Captain Lopez.
He's gonna have a seizure.
Do we have? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All against? Motion passes. Moving on to this, moving on to the 2024-2027 ESD and Achieve an Now Experience Core.
This is also, was a 1-year agreement, which they're offering us a 3-year agreement. This is they kind of changed the name of it, but it was AARP. But this is where we received the tutors for reading a one-on-one with 2nd and 3rd grade students that qualify. And I didn't receive a report from, an update from Arizona City, but I did from the reading interventionist at TES. And every student moved except for one. And usually in those kind of cases, there's some kind of extenuating circumstance. So this is very, very good for our students. And the cost for the district is $5,520.
And as long as we see them moving in the upward, that's well worth it to me. Any other questions?
I assume this is the reading program I joined,
Yes,
so these are administrative expenses or something.
yes.
Okay.
You don't get that $5,000?
Are you sure?
We'll talk later.
Yeah, the tutors are volunteers, and so this is the, those doing the work behind it, I guess, for the program.
Just the program cost. If we have no more questions, do we have a motion?
So move.
No, okay, Dr. Leventino has made a motion. Do I have a second?
second.
Captain Lopez has made a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against? Motion passes. Again, we're moving on. Moving on to 2024-2028 Arizona School Boards Association Public Services Agreement.
Now, this is where ASBA, and this was the organization where Captain Lopez and Mr. Victor went to the conference. We had discussed, or I brought it to your attention, that the trust, which you approved the renewal with the liability, they're now providing policy services. I was very interested because from what I've heard from other superintendents, their policies are more defined, well-defined, and not so long and tedious. But so it was time for another, to renew with ASBA. And what I wanted to bring out, the annual cost is $4,716. But what I wanted to bring out to you is this is an agreement that carries forward for, it's a 4-year agreement that you're signing for. Now, the fine line in there, as I looked through the agreement, is after 2 years, 48 months, then it converts to a 1-year agreement. So basically, it's a 4-year agreement that could be a 3-year agreement. And you can opt out at that time with written, to asking to discontinue service, but the termination requires a payment of 50% of the total remaining balance. So basically,
This is prorated by the years, right?
It is, $4,716 a year.
A year. Okay.
So after 2 years, if we wanted to go with the trust, then we would have to pay them basically for 1 year, because that'd be 50%, then we wouldn't be using them. So when you're thinking about this, basically, if we're signing this, we'd probably be staying with them for another 4 years for policy services.
Are you recommending that?
Well, I would rather go with the trust, but that process wouldn't be immediate, and we can't be without service. So that's,
But they're locking us in basically for 4 years anyway.
they're
And
locking
then
us
if we decide
in.
to bail, it's gonna have to cost, it's gonna cost.
And I think the reason for that is because the trust now offers, and they don't want to make it easy for districts
Yeah,
to
no kidding.
switch.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
so is there an option on this? Hi, we'd love to sign up with you for a year.
They're only offering this is the offer.
So my question is, a few months
They're,
back, we had a controversy with the ASBA. There was something in their leadership that
Their director
their director.
had
and that-
lied
Yeah,
about his credentials, and he was forced to resign when it came to light. So they lost a lot of credibility in the state of Arizona.
and that would lead me to think maybe, in addition, not necessarily going to tire ourselves in for 4 years, maybe go with trust more than with ASBA.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
This sucks.
yeah.
They-
So
Put it
our,
mildly.
so our option could be this. I had already reached out to the trust to, the liaison that we would be working with, 4 or 5 months ago. From what I understand for the superintendent, it takes 3 or 4 months to get everything, but we already have the policies that we've adopted, okay? So where it would be problematic, we could say, no, we don't want to continue with ASBA policy services, we want to go with the trust. We can do that, but what's going to be problematic is these, when the legislator is making decisions and laws come into being passed, then we get policy updates accordingly. So that might mean that in this transitional period, if you decide not to go with the SBA, that we might be a tad bit behind. We'll already have our other policies. We just wouldn't be getting renewed and updated policies until the transition is over. Does that make sense? The trust would catch us up, but there might be a little bit of lag time there for us.
Current policy ends on June 30th. You can't go for less than a 4-year term, basically.
That's what they're.
We can't even really end it until 2 years. And then if we end it, we have to pay
Or
for
we pay a penalty.
the year that we put in. I don't like it when they back you up into a corner, anybody. I don't like that.
They did. That's what they did. They did it on purpose.
And it was quite deliberate, yeah.
Oh, yeah, quite. And I hate putting everybody in this.
Policy services agreement. What if we don't have a policy services agreement? What happens?
So Picacho did not have a policy services agreement. I happen to know that superintendent very, very well. That's 21 years.
You're right.
22 years.
Building's still standing.
It's still standing. So it's not a liberalized situation. Like I said, we would just, if you decide that you don't want to go with ASBA policy services tonight, then I will be on the phone or I will be in contact with the trust immediately to try to start the process. We'll get an agreement from them. I'll bring it to you in the next board meeting. You would approve that, and then we'd get the wheels rolling immediately.
Okay.
So that's the alternative.
Well,
How about to cast my, if I may say something,
Go with it. Everything.
I'm about to cast my first no vote on this board.
Yeah,
I don't like the gun in my head, I really
No.
don't.
No.
I can't wrap my head around 4 years.
They did it on purpose. They're pulling the trigger on us.
I'm gonna oppose it on purpose, just for the record.
Well,
I think they've lost customers.
Yeah.
And they lost credibility for sure. So they've lost districts. You know, basically they had it sold up, you know, they were the only ones, and now they're not the only ones.
You lost.
well, I think they're pretty.
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst.
so I will ask if, I'll spit it out. How should I say this? I'm trying to think how I should say this.
Or do we have a motion?
Yeah,
That motion could be.
do we have, I'll just put it up. Do we have a motion, to not have a 2024-2028 Arizona School Boards Association Policy Services Agreement? And we agree that we do not want
You're asking for a motion to oppose renewal.
it. Opposing renewal.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, sir. We now. All right,
I don't know.
I gotta stop laughing, you know, you have to get.
Okay.
Okay,
We gotta do it.
all in agreement? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Motion passes, you did not make a no.
If I may,
Okay.
real quick,
Yes, sir.
just a side note to make you all feel better. I was a superintendent in Cottrell for 24 years. We were never married to ASBA, not 1 year. We survived just fine.
And we're going to survive also, and thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, now let's through that one. I'm gonna move on to, N, 2024-2025, 301.
So this comes to you annually. This is for this next school year. I meet with committee members, so we have teachers, and the door is always open for any administrator to sit in. Dr. Poppin sat in on this committee meeting, which was held in May, and there's, they also vote, so this is the performance pay for appropriately certified teachers. The only thing that the plan is still the same except for one change. The teachers receive, those who qualify for the full amount, $4,000, and they're given a down payment on that in December to help with Christmas of $500. And it was brought up by one of the teachers in participating that maybe we wanted to talk about increasing that to $1,000, which means that their payout in June would be less money. So when that went to a vote, we had only 23 teachers participated, unfortunately. But 21 said yes for the plan, 2 said no. And then the vote was only 11 voted to keep the payout at 500 and 12 voted to increase the payout to 1,000. So one difference, but that shows how important it is to vote. So that's the only difference in the performance pay.
The total amount doesn't change, so this is just an advance.
Total amount.
The advance payment we got before Christmas.
$1,000 for 2 bags of groceries and fries. So
I know, it's true. Maybe 2 visits to the prize.
In such case.
Okay.
All right. Do I have a motion for the 2024-2025 301 performance pay plan?
So the payment plan that we're voting on is to go for the 1,000.
So we want to know if we want to,
You're the whole plan, but
Oh, the
I'm
whole
just
plan.
letting you know that
Oh, I
that's
see.
the only
Okay.
difference in there.
Right.
from-
On the whole plan, so moved.
oh, all right, so we have Dr. Lentino, made a motion.
Second.
I got a second by Captain Lopez. All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Aye. All against? Motion passes. Moving on to O.
This is the apprentice teacher corrective action stimulus plan. So as long as the apprentice teacher is staying on track with getting their degree to become appropriately certified, they get a little end of the year bonus because they're not eligible for the 301. So this is just coming forward to you again for renewal. I think we first introduced this about 3 years ago.
Are there any questions?
There's no changes to the plan.
No. As it always has been. For about 3, 4 years, 3 years.
3 years.
So I have a motion for the 2024-2025 Apprentice Teacher Corrective Action Stimulus Plan.
So, we're right.
I'm gonna go with
Ernie was first.
I'm gonna go with Ernie first, Ernie first. And second
Second by me.
by Dr. Levantino. Do I have, all in favor say aye? Aye. All against? Motion passes. We're now moving on to the daily substitute usage report.
When I came in as superintendent, our schools were not permitted to have daily substitute teachers. The only time we could call a substitute teacher in was if it was for several days or weeks. And that was due to budget cuts. And in January 10th, 2018, the governing board approved that we could call in daily substitutes. When you don't have substitutes, it's disruptive because you're pulling for coverage. So it's disruptive to the learning environment. So we, at that point in time, just for that, from January to May of 2017, we had spent a total as a district $45,956.52 on substitute teachers, both daily and long-term. So for daily substitutes, that was $22,810.94 during that time frame. When COVID happened, after COVID, we substitute teachers are just almost non-existent. I think we have one that's always eager to work, and we might have 2. So we resorted in 2021 we have 3 in-house substitutes. So we have our own employees that are employed to cover classes. We have 2 at ACES and 1 at Toltec. So, and then for this past school year, as you can see on the substitute reports, which were also in your reports that you passed on the consent agenda, Arizona City Elementary School spent a total of $250 for the whole year, and Toltec Elementary School spent a total of $10,362.50. Since operational methods have changed over the past 6.5 years, I'm proposing to you that these monthly reports of the cost of daily substitutes are no longer a necessary duty for our admin assistants to perform every month. So I'm asking for your approval to eliminate the monthly daily substitute usage reports.
So do we have a motion for the elimination of the daily substitute usage reports?
So moved.
All right, I have a motion by Dr. Levantino. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Captain Lopez. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against? All right. Moving on to you. Okay. All right.
So by Arizona Revised Statute 15-34139, annual goals for the superintendent and performance pay is to be done in June. The goals that you gave me on September 18, 2023 was letter grade improvements. Letter grades have not been issued, but it doesn't appear promising that there's going to be an improvement. We continue to work with the state and the county to support our teachers and principals. Dr. Poppin has been very vital in this, and it's been a great benefit in working with the state liaison for school improvement. Then our continued effort for financial recovery and budget control, you gave me as another goal, and we were able to recover from the $1 million deficit we dealt with last year. We continue to do everything possible to balance the budget. It is increasingly difficult because we continue to get cuts at the state level. Continued effort to improve community relations was another goal you gave me. Our reputation within this community was basically ruined with our prior former district administrator, superintendent. But we quickly began to regain and rebuild trust and improve that reputation, our reputation. And I feel like we're in a good standing place with the community and with the county as well. Another goal he gave me was to continue effort to recruit appropriately certified teachers. We obtained appropriately certified teachers for our special education classes at the beginning of this school year. Now the principals are working to hire some more appropriately certified teachers for regular education classrooms. Another goal was to implement student behavior support programs. We started this school year with a positive behavior program that wasn't sustainable because the implementation by the director, it wasn't successful, and she's no longer with the district. We have partnered with Desert Sunita Community Health Clinic, and they provided several counselors, and they'll be providing a psychologist this school year. So this comes at no cost to us as a district. So now we have more services and the emotional, the emotional support, that's always been a concern of ours. The social emotional learning, that's always been something. Not COVID didn't, make us suddenly aware of something. We've always had the responsibility to make sure that our students are okay mentally and emotionally. The improvement in reading proficiency by the end of grade 3. And so last year we were able to enter into the partnership with the Achieve Pinal Experience Corps. And Dr. Leventino is a volunteer reading tutor with that group and for our schools. And even in these beginning stages, we're already seeing improvements. So I had been on a waiting list for a district to join, and we were finally able to do that. So I feel that I've met the goals that you have given to me. I do want to say that the $5,000 performance pay, you have blessed me with that in the past, but this year it was an oversight. I didn't realize that I didn't put a survey out to the teachers in the community. So I missed that part of what I should have done. So I am saying that with not getting that done, I probably don't deserve the full amount.
I will, I'll just say at this point that you have pulled this place together, and it's taken some time to make it what it is. And you've never given up on anything that you've tried, and we've, I've always found all the difficulties that we have. You seem to have we've made it through, and without you, we would never have made it. From the beginning to this time that we have right now. And I have always said that your performance has been impeccable. And by the one blemish that you say you should get the full pay, I do not put credence to that whatsoever, and I believe that we should get the full 5,000 performance-based pay. And I'll make a motion for that, receive the full 5,000. And if I get a second.
Second.
I got a second from Dr. Levantino. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you for your confidence. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
We are going to move on to my hated, I like doing that one, but this one I hate, okay? For a reason, because it's liquidated damages, and if you could explain what we got here.
This is a teacher that came to us mid-year, actually in February. She's a Filipino teacher. She was sent to us from RCC, which is the company that sent us our first batch of Philippine teachers. And come to find out, she wasn't successful there in Virginia. They transferred her here, and she was not successful here. So by mutual agreement, with the principal, she submitted her resignation on May 8th.
And there are other things that I heard, that I shall not touch bases on, but I will state that the Ms. Royal to pay the district $2,000 liquidated damages, not as a penalty, but for the fact that her performance or underperformance be taken into consideration. And I make a motion.
On the other hand, she was asked to resign and did.
True. But we'll just state that there are other things that are part and parcel to it, and that was for the reason her to be asked to resign. And I personally take into consideration that more than anything. And like I said, I hate making people pay, but in this case, because of her lack of interest in what she was doing and the damage that it had done to her students and in the classroom and the people who had tried to bring her back, I believe she should pay the $2,000. Do I have a second?
So make a motion to move.
He already did.
I did, I just had you have a second.
Sorry about that. I need
So your second.
Kevin Lopez has made a second. All in favor, say aye.
to.
Aye. All against? Motion passed. Again, here we go. Arizona City Elementary School apprentice teacher resignation.
She began as an in-house substitute, which we were just discussing. On 8/8/22, she resigned to care for her father on February 27, 2023. At that time, you waived her liquidated damages. Then she returned to Arizona City Elementary School as an apprentice teacher on November 6, 23, and she resigned the 9th of May due to her need to earn more money.
And again, this is, I'm just going to say that she paid a $1,000 liquidated damages. Before we thought, she's taking care of her family members. That's okay, but this time she just moved on because she wanted more money, and she left us in the lurch there again for the second time. And I do not believe she should be allowed to do it again on principle. And so I state that I make a motion that she paid a $1,000 liquidated damages.
I would add to that motion is because I know, I mean, she's come back twice now to find some sort of thing to make where she's not rehirable a third time. You know, I think we really need to make sure that we put that in writing somewhere.
She is not rehireable.
Okay. And I guess I would second your motion.
Motion, a second by Mr. David Richter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Now we move on to the best part of the whole thing, next meeting date. Not the best. The last part.
Ernie Lopez.
Ernie. Yeah, so,
The second Monday is the 8th, but we just say that the meeting must be held that week, the week of the 8th, because we need the days to have the proposed budget available to the public. And then we have the turnaround time where we need to get the budget submission to the state by the 15th. So the week of the 8th, we need to have a meeting.
and I'm just gonna bring this straight up because of the fact that if it is on the 8th, then I'll have to take a day off from work and come in on the 8th. If I can have it on the 10th, which is Wednesday, that would be my day off and I could come in and we could take care of it. If you guys, it's up to you guys to check my calendar and we'll see.
Yeah, sorry, the 8th works, 10th doesn't.
Okay.
I won't be here,
You want-
not July
Okay, sure.
8th to the 11th. Not that week at all.
Either day works for me.
All right.
Steve, what's your input? Okay.
You can do it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'm good for the 8th.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and it seems that everybody's more, is better with the 8th. I'll find a way. I'll be here one way or another. It doesn't matter. This is more important. I told them at work, I said, this is more important than my job. So you guys, whatever you need to do, you do. And I'm gonna be here. So next meeting date, Steve? Now we're gonna move on to just.
It's a motion to adjourn.
Oh, there it is. And once we're adjourned. Do I have a second?
I can hold it.
Second.
Who's second?
What do you-
No one, we want to stay outside.
Now we're gonna stay around for a while.
Oh, okay, I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye. All against? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.